So picture this, right? It's around 2010 or 2009, around that time. It's summer, and you're finally over your dad's house for the weekend. Spent the whole week at your mom's, going to school and, church and all that, and you get time to spend with your dad for every once in a while. Now, it's not often that you really go out and do stuff, unless it's with your step family on your dad's side. It's just you and him this time. And he decides that, he just wants to go for a walk, which you don't really pay any attention to. You just like hanging out with your dad. You like, doing other stuff than playing on the Wii for hours or on your Xbox or DS or iPhone playing Angry Birds. You're outside and it's sunny. It's nice. And that's probably the reason why you chose to go outside in the first place. And after a bit, your legs get tired of walking and you're seeing all of your neighborhood. You're walking a longer distance than you usually walk. It's beyond the block this time. And since you're tired, he, props you up. He puts you on his shoulders. And you're just walking. Well, he's walking. You're not walking. And the sun's bright. It's a light breeze. It's not hot or anything. It's like the perfect temperature. You're passing by schools and you hear other kids laughing and playing. But you have your eyes on him. You're looking down and you're holding his head. And you feel something wet and it's a tear. And you ask him, hey, are you crying? And of course he just says something stupid like, oh, it's just my allergies. But you think, and not just, what a normal toddler would think of something silly. It gets you thinking about, is this guy emotional? Does this guy cry? What's with this guy? But you kind of just brush it off. You forget about it a second later once he mentions something like ice cream or, hey, do you want to play Wii Sports? It's a thing. It's something that I've thought about. That's something that happened to me, by the way. It's not just like some random story. I have never had a moment like that before, up until that point, where everything felt so real. When I was younger, I feel like I've spent a lot more time, playing games and watching cartoons, that experiencing something like that was so bizarre, but it felt so real. Both of my parents have been in my life for as long as I can remember, but it's rare for me to see them in the same room. And I've always kind of just drifted between the two, where I'd stay with my mom for a bit, and then I'd go to my dad, and back and forth. I've never seen them argue or anything. It's just they never were together because things didn't really work out after I was born or whatever happened. And kind of getting that emotion from either of them is kind of rare. Like with my mom, I have conversations with my mom and, I can talk to her. But I feel like it's kind of rare for me to get like that pure connection. And it's same with my dad. My dad less though, because I have had more conversations with him. But that moment where I was young, where, that was around the time where everything was kind of just a blur, at least for now. But a lot of it was just me, going to school, having fun and playing the game, not really thinking about it too much. That moment is something that I feel like I can never really make again. And, I feel like it kind of sucks that I didn't have more of those where everything felt a lot more real, especially since it's with my parents. I don't have any bad blood with either of them. I talk to them frequently, but I feel like I've always just been kind of awkward. I don't really feel like I have anything in common with my parents, which I think is weird. I often hear a lot about, my friends and how they interact with their parents. Some of them absolutely hate their parents, and then other people they're like their best friend. But I feel like I've never really had that. They've kind of just been like guardians, which I think is normal. But I've had enough times where I'm kind of just sitting in the car with them and not saying a single word. And then once we get into the house or wherever we're going, I just kind of go straight to my room and not say anything. And I've gotten better at talking to them because back then I would it'd be one-off sentences where I'd come home from school or work or whatever. They'd ask me, hey, how have you been? I'd be like, fine. Nothing really happened today. I didn't really learn anything. Then I just go downstairs. And that's it. But I have been talking to both my parents a little bit more. And, it's gotten a lot easier. And it doesn't help with the fact that my dad is if he's more than 60 years old and I'm only 20, and I kind of had to grow up hearing him saying, hey, I might not see you graduate. And I'm just like, oh, bro, come on, man. What the hell? Or, the reason why I'm even making this DenDa thought video about my parents, which is, a little bit more, I don't know, emotional and personal. It's because a few days ago, it was, I forgot what I was doing. I was helping him move a bed from my mom's to our house for our guest room. And there was like a little bit of an argument with, I don't know, my stepmom and my dad. And after that argument had taken place, we had gone to go pick up the truck to go move the bed. And I was sitting in the car with my dad, because my stepmom was just still at the house. And he told me about, I don't know, it's just very down, very kind of like negative thoughts and stuff. It's saying like, oh, you're gonna have to get ready for me to leave. Like, of course I know that my dad won't fucking live forever, like he's a vampire or some shit, but just kind of sitting there and hearing about like, oh, I'm old and I don't have too long, and you're gonna die, I'm gonna die, everybody's gonna die at one point, so it's just like, while I'm here I might as well just keep going, I guess. And I'm just sitting there like dude, what the fuck? It's hard to be optimistic sometimes, I get that, but I don't know. I kind of just like going day to day and seeing all the physical problems that he's going through, and then all the, emotional stuff that he's also going through, with kind of just being fed up with a lot. He has that old man syndrome. It's something that, like, I've kind of been hearing it all my life, being the youngest in my family, first of all. But coming to terms with that, it was like, of course I have to. And, I know not everybody's gonna live forever, and there's gonna be a point where I'm gonna be on my own. But, I don't know, it's kind of sucks to hear, especially frequently, with how in the dumps he's been. And then on top of that, as I mentioned, I'm the youngest, so like all of my siblings, they've already experienced like 15 to 20 more years of life than I have. And it's kind of weird. It's like I've been an only child for as long as I can remember, because around the time when I was born, they were changing my diapers and taking care of me while, I couldn't even walk. And as soon as I went into elementary school, that's when they were, starting to get their jobs and find their own apartments and get into relationships. And so it's like I barely ever really saw them up until, they just showed up to my dad's house to, borrow something or just get a haircut, something like that. And then on my mom's side, my sisters were always around, especially for events and stuff like Christmas or birthdays. But even then, with the majority of my siblings, especially my blood siblings, I feel like I never really had too much of a chance to really open up to them. It's like, I know it's kind of weird to say, but I feel like I've talked to my friends more than I've actually talked to my biological siblings. And I don't really know how common that is for other people, but it's kind of led to a little bit of a mental disconnect from me, of where, of course my siblings have known me since I was in my diapers, and me being born, me screaming and having to change my diapers and stuff like that. But around the age where, I could formulate thoughts, that's when they kind of just blanked out in my mind. I swear, I have 4 brothers on my dad's side, and it took me a while to even remember their names with how little I saw them. But with that, I kind of just wish that I was either like older, so I could have been born alongside them, so I could have more of like a actual sibling interaction, rather than me kind of being an only child and then, oh, here comes the random guest for this week or month, and then they're just gone, and that's it. As for step siblings, though, especially on my dad's side, they were around when I really needed that kind of like sibling interaction, and they have created some of the most memorable moments of my life, of like actually having friends and people to talk to when I'm at home. They provided me with, someone to be around during a time where I could have really just like fully been in my room locked up and not interacting with anybody, especially when I was younger, because I had a stepbrother my age, I had stepsisters that were older than me that took care of us and fed us, and I feel like they guided me on a better path to at least be more sociable, especially with my friends now, because I feel like without my step siblings, I don't really think I would know how to interact with other people as well as I do now, and that's always been really nice. And lastly, I wanted to talk about my friends. I forgot where I heard it from, but I remember someone saying or hearing it from somewhere that, the family that you have right now, your blood family, they're what you're born with. And the friends that you make along the way are the family that, you acquire. And I have so many good friends that have helped me out along my path of growth that, of course you can't be the person who you are without the people around you. And I attribute so much of who I am now to the people that I've been around and the people who have guided me. And I feel like, with school alone, I wouldn't have made school as fun as it is without talking to the people that I like. I don't know what I'd be doing if I just didn't talk to anybody. Probably be dead, as any human probably would be without social interaction. But I love all my friends. And without them, again, I don't know what I'd be doing. Now, if any of my family or friends are watching or listening to this video right now, I just want to say that, I really do wish to be able to communicate more with you guys, especially when I'm not like directly in front of you. I have this thing where I'm not really good at talking to people when I'm away from them or like keeping in touch, mainly because I really get sidetracked and I do like being alone half the time, but I'm constantly thinking about the people around me. And I'm always thinking about you guys. So thank you for being in my life, because you guys are freaking awesome. And I would be a rock without you guys. Imagine a rock just on the ground that's me, without friends or family. But I don't know. I just want to talk about this because I thought it was something that, I thought about while in the car with my dad. If you relate to this in any way, or if you have any stories you want to share in the comments, go ahead, because I read all the comments. But thanks for listening, guys. This is something that I think about sometimes.